Welcome, welcome. Who is here with me this evening? See, we've got 4 people so far. So we've got Lisa, Cheryl, Carla, and Mana. So I hope you can all hear me. Just pop in the chat box, yes, or hello, Linda, just to let me know that you can hear me. And let me get my So welcome, welcome. I trust you can all hear me. Just type in the chat box and let me know. So I hope you're all warm on this chilly, chilly winter's night. Certainly here in Cape Town, we've had quite a storm. From yesterday to today, lots of rain. So hoping that those dams are going to fill up. Yes, very exciting to meet the tribe again, Mana. Absolutely. Wow. So welcome, welcome. Session number 10. Can you believe it? So first of all, let me just extend a powerful acknowledgement for each of you for being here, for committing to this journey, for doing the homework, for showing up, and yeah, really, really exciting. And also to acknowledge those of you who have sent in your money stories. That's really great. And yes, that sounds really great, Roxy. Nice electric blankets. And yes, grateful for electricity. Yesterday, our electricity was off for a while, so these things do happen. And while we're praying for rain and continued rain, of course, I'm sure all of you have heard about the terrible fire in Meisner. It's just so dreadful. So yeah, hoping they're going to get lots of rain as well. So yes, so how is everyone doing? Love to just hear or see rather your comments in the box. How are you doing? How are you doing with your money story? So yes, let's jump right in. As I say, welcome back, Abundance Soul Tribe. And here we go. Session 10, we're going to be taking another step in your money story, and specifically creating or even starting to create a new money story. Because guess what? What's exciting about your money story is that it's your story, and you also have the power to create a new story. Wow, Roxy, I'm so glad you enjoyed Module 9. Epic. I love that. Thank you. Epic. Excellent. Excellent. Love that. And tonight we're also going to be talking about, as you know, one of my favorite money topics, and that, of course, is saving. Okay, so everybody ready to jump in? and get started. Okay, good. So, as usual, before we get into tonight's content, we're going to just spend a couple minutes reviewing what we've covered, starting with your money story. So for those of you who have sent yours in already, and I know some of you have, like Lisa and Roxy and Carla, and of course Mana, you were on the course before, but of course Mana, you're still welcome to, do this exercise again. And some of you might be busy with your money story right now. So who would like to share anything about the experience, any insight that you'd like to share with the group? And to also add that I intend to, probably by about, let's say, next week or the end of next week, to send out the money stories to the group. Because I believe that having the opportunity to read other people's stories will be extremely liberating. Yes, challenging. Yes, sad at times. But there's something so powerful about these stories. And as much as you've written for yourself, as part of your homework and for your journey, in the sharing, wow, I think it's going to be incredible. Mana, you said it was an epic failure. You're using the word, Roxy's using there, epic. And you totally underestimated it. Now, just say more about that. I'm not understanding what you mean. I mean, it's what you did was good. So yeah, just say a bit more about that, Mana, won't you please? And the beauty of writing your story again in this instance is that, you're going to uncover another layer, or more memories may come back. So again, as I always say, it's an evolving journey. And it's never about trying to get somewhere in terms of this journey, because no sooner will you get somewhere, so to speak, and then there'll be somewhere else to get to. So one wants to give up that belief that you have to achieve or get somewhere, and rather focus on the power and the beauty and the possibility of exactly where you are right now, and the gratitude for that. Because then moment by moment, your life is powerful, your life is good, your life is expanding, and yes, challenges do come up, but you're dealing with them as you always have to. Welcome, Deborah. Great to have you here with us. You haven't missed too much. We're just getting started, and we're just talking about the money story. So, does anybody else have any feedback at all about your experience of writing your money story? Did you find you had any resistance to writing it? Okay, Roxy's saying emotionally draining. Wow, very powerful, Roxy, about being stuck in that story. And that, that really sort of points to the essence here, that first of all, it's a story, but that it's a story that will be holding you back. Then it's just about determining the degree to which it's holding you back. And welcome, Sandy. Great to have you here this evening. So, Sandy, we're talking about your money story, in terms of how you're doing with it, any questions you might have about it. As you can see, Roxy was just sharing her experience. And thank you for your vulnerability there, Roxy, to just express that, because that's very interesting about, as you said, the hurt that you were carrying. Yeah, it's absolutely therapeutic. And there's something powerful about, first of all, writing it, then sending it to me, but most likely as well, reading through it yourself again. And starting to just see it from a new place. Yeah, thank you, Roxy. Thank you, Roxy. So if you are still busy with your money story, I would like to extend the opportunity to you to commit to having it done by Sunday. Because I know many people did ask for an extension, and I would like to continue to hold the accountability structure with you and allow you to commit to Sunday. And Deborah, can I add that may be the reason to write it again? Because it is draining you. It's having such an effect on you that you want to consider that taking the time to write it, as much as it's draining and emotionally and mentally draining, and you're even feeling so depressed, by avoiding it or not doing it, you are simply delaying the healing. And so we don't want you to delay the healing, do we? So it's not easy. But if you can, see this as an opportunity to take it to the next level. And so tonight we're going to be also starting to explore what you're going to do with your money story once it's written. Okay? And I want to also add that this is not necessarily a once-off process. It's something that you may revisit, as some of you are revisiting when you've done the course with me before. Yeah, and having a breakdown is part of the journey. So what I want to add is that if you can be okay and even embrace the idea that there will be breakdowns, there will be emotions, there will be, even as Deborah shared, feeling depressed, and Roxy also talked about that, feeling, just feeling down and feeling hurt and feeling sad about the events from the past. But the the critical thing here is that that's the thing. It's in the past, like it happened in the past, and yet it's still having a massive effect on you today and tomorrow and so on. So this is not the most comfortable part of the homework, but it does have its benefits. And that's what we're aiming towards here. We're wanting you to be able to reap those benefits. But only you can do it. Only you can write your story. And without judgment, really without judgment. And I think that's also where when all of you start to see other people's stories, it will again have another level of being therapeutic and healing. To understand and to see that you're not alone, that you're not alone. And that's important. Okay, so that's the money story. And then the other part of our recap tonight is your financial vision. Your financial vision. Now, some of you have sent your financial vision in. That's your spending plan, your updated spending plan, where you filled in the estimate section, and in fact, specifically the estimate section. That's the vision. What do you want to strive towards? What do you want to achieve? What is your goal? And what are those numbers? Okay. So for those of you who have not yet sent your financial visions in, I'd like you to make your homework book right now, your journal. Note, please send, Linda requests, please send in your financial vision. And if you have any resistance around that, let me know what's happening for you. It's okay. Or maybe you just don't know quite where to start. Maybe you've got questions about the financial vision. So if you have questions about the financial vision, please pop that in the chat box right now. But I also want to answer a question this evening that Carla presented to me in the week. And I felt that it would be really awesome to respond to her question in a way that you could all hear the answer, because you're all probably going to have this experience as well. So thank you for that question, Carla. Thank you for presenting that question to me in the email. So the question that Carla asked me was a statement to begin with, but with a question. And Carla shared with me that, as a result of being on the course, so many wonderful things have been happening. For example, she'd shared before of having so many mandates, properties to sell at the moment, more than she'd ever had at one point. And she's noticing that a lot of things are going so well. Isn't that right, Carla? That's what you shared with me. Things are really going well. So what happens when things are going well? When things are going well, that little demon in your head says to you, oh, what if it doesn't last? So, what if it doesn't last? Have any of you had that question come up for you? It's going so well, what if it doesn't last? Or you may even be thinking, when's it going to get better? Okay, so this is my answer that I wanted to give to Carla, but also would like to share with all of you. So, here's the bottom line. Chances are it won't last in the way that it currently is. Let's say forever. It's never going to be a straight line. That's what I'm saying. It's never going to be a straight upwardly headed line. There will be setbacks. There will be moments when your intentions don't come to pass. There will be times when it doesn't feel so good, or doesn't look so good, or you're feeling frustrated. So what I'm saying to you is that, yes, when your little voice is saying it may not last, well done, Carla. It's going fast. Let's call it a pebble in the road, or a big boulder in the road, or something is not going so well. It could happen. It could happen. It most likely will happen at some point. So I don't want to say to you at all, of course it's just going to be wonderful all the time. That would be crazy. Rather, I want you to know that, you will hit a pebble, or you will hit a roadblock. Things will and can become bumpy. But when you get to that point, that is the time to draw in even more positivity, and even more optimism, and even more gratitude. Do you see what I'm saying? So very often when one hits a roadblock, or a pebble in the road, or a boulder in the road, it's very easy to get discouraged and to become despondent and to feel like, oh, it's not working anymore. Something's gone wrong. Okay? So that's why you have this group. That's why you have me here, to remind you when this happens that it's okay. It's expected. It's going to happen. We all have setbacks. Okay? We all have setbacks at times. And there's that saying that you've probably heard that goes like this, it's not what happens to you. It's how you deal with it. So I really want to set you all up to win. wanting to set you up to win, because when the down times come along, or the quiet times come along, or the results don't come in as you want them to, that does not mean that it's going to be like that forever. It's a temporary setback. The game is not over. In fact, the game is never over. And as long as you stay in the game and you stay focused on your goals and you stay grateful, you will get through the challenge quickly. Certainly more quickly or faster than if you allowed yourself to fall into the trap of the upset. In fact, even the upset that you may experience, you can give yourself permission to have that upset, but just don't let it last, more than like half an hour or an hour. And in fact, that's what the group is really for, and what I'm here for. When you hit that moment and you're feeling a bit down or a bit despondent or a bit upset or frustrated, the key opportunity that you have within this group and in this training is to get into communication. Let me know, let the team know, be vulnerable, share, because in that way you can receive the support and to know that you're supported and that you will get through it. And the moment you can acknowledge that and take it on, things then shift in the right direction. Does that make sense? And besides my question of does it make sense, will you all please take that on? To really use this group to support you. And that's also a question that's coming up for many people at the moment about, what's next after the 12 weeks. Because tonight's session 10, next week you'll get module 11 sent to your inbox, followed by our final session, which will be in 2 weeks. Wow. So we have 2 weeks till we get to our 12th session. So what I want you to know is that there is a plan in place for continuity for those of you who are interested. And I will be sharing about it via email. I will be also talking with each of you about where you're at right now and what's going to be the next best step for each of you. So don't worry, this journey is not over for those of you who feel the value and the benefit of the continuation of this journey. Because I'm sure that's what many of you have begun to feel, that once the course is over, the implementation continues, and it must continue. It's essential. Okay, so coming back to what my screen says there about your financial vision. So, as I said earlier, if you're busy with your financial visions, please, you're most welcome to send it to me. And of course, then it's about working with those intentions and those results, which is why I wanted to share my answer to Carla's question, that you're going to have your intentions and things will start to happen. You'll be very excited. You'll see amazing results. And then, boom, something goes wrong. Something doesn't work. And, yes, it's going to happen. It may happen. It may happen in a month. It may only happen in 2 months. But when it does happen, I want you to be prepared by knowing, oh my word, yes, I knew this would happen at some point. Now, I'm not meaning that you're causing it or you manifesting it by knowing. By knowing just means that it helps you to be even more prepared and even more ready. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. And when it does happen, well, be in communication. Very important, because so often when these things happen, one tends to hide away and kind of keep it to yourself, or feel, oh, it hasn't worked, I don't really want to tell anybody. But no, You don't want that. Sure, Lisa. Big question. Why? Gosh, I'm not. Gosh, Lisa, I'm so sorry to hear that. I don't know. Just gonna make a type of message here. Keep trying, Lisa. Not sure why that would happen. Okay, so getting into tonight's session. So tonight we're going to be creating and starting to look at the world of a new money story. A new money story. What could that look like? We're also going to touch on talking to your partner about money. Money and your honey. And we'll be talking about saving the ultimate commitment. And I think by this point you started to see that saving is about having that commitment to yourself, putting yourself first and paying yourself first, which is wonderful. And then we're also going to be touching on other ways to bring about the increasing of your income flow. And when I say other ways, it's about the mindset, it's about the actions you're taking or not taking. So just additional tips that can further support your goals and your intentions to increase your income flow. Okay, so let's just position ourselves from the point of view that your story is written. Now, if you're still busy working on it, that's okay. You can go back to it. And when that homework or that part of the homework is complete, then these are the next questions that you will start to explore. And what you will notice from your story is that you will have drawn conclusions from your story. There will be a certain belief or a certain reality, a belief about a reality that you will have drawn. So you want to look for those conclusions that you drew, that you might have decided, money is not important, or you can't talk to people about money, or it's about hard work. So you're going to draw your conclusions from your story, or you should put it this way, you will have drawn conclusions from your story. Okay. And again, each of you are going to have come about your conclusions in different ways based on your own money story. So the next question to ask yourself from your conclusions that you came to about your story or from your story, is what does it all mean about you? What does it mean about you? What does it say about you? And this is really about going sort of deeper into your story to understand what's in the background. So we first, as you've done in the first part of the homework of just getting the story down on paper, now we start to see what does it actually mean? Let me just pop a message to Lisa. Lisa, the links will go out tomorrow. So what does it mean about you? And this is something that you can just allow yourself to hang out with. It's not like necessarily an answer that's gonna pop in your head right away. But as you read through your money story, you'll start to get clues as to, what does this mean about me and who you perceive yourself to be in this world, what you believe you deserve. What does it mean about you? But now to take it into another layer, ask yourself, how does or did money story serve you? Is there a lesson in there? Did it make you stronger? Did it bring about a strength or an ability that you may not otherwise have had? So I'd like to invite you to write down these questions in your notebook at the moment so that you can address these questions in your homework. But if you'd like to share in the chat box right now, anything that pops in your mind as to what did you make it mean about yourself, or perhaps how did it serve you? Please take this opportunity to share. If there's something that's in your mind right now, or perhaps you have a question, you're most welcome to pop your question in the box there as well. But these questions to help you go deeper into your story, to understand what it's given you and what it's created inside of you, whether you're conscious of it or not. Okay. And then to take it further, after asking yourself, how did it serve you? Now you're going to ask yourself, how can it serve you now? Yeah, thank you, Roxy. Yeah. So you're asking yourself, what does it mean about you? How did it serve you? And how can it serve you now? Now you might be thinking, well, no, it didn't serve me at all. So then draw your conclusions from that. But there is a point we're going to get to here. In case you're wondering, okay, we're asking all these questions, but where's this going to take me now? But so these questions are really designed to explore your money story. To ask yourself these questions to open up a new perspective about your story. Another way of looking at this would be to be able to assess and determine that you survived. You survived. So Roxy, what you're saying is there that back then you didn't have to worry about what you had to buy or spend your money on. But now you do. So it's changed. My parents' responsibilities to serve me. So I wonder what your parents will say about that. So really it's about inquiring into the way in which your money story and your money experience may have some benefit or some gem in there that can be of benefit to you now. How can it serve you now? And so then you want to be asking yourself, and this might be a tricky one, how can your money story help you to create abundance in the present? So you want to see what you learned and see what you experienced and see what you can switch around to have it support you to create abundance now. Exactly, Roxy. So what you're starting to see was that, yeah, having that being irresponsible with money because you related to it as being not important. Or certainly it was something that was, so let's call it very far or very detached from you in terms of your experience growing up. And then with relationship with money, the result has been that you're not optimizing your experience with money. And so now, guys, and we start to examine the story from different angles, you start to be able to draw out what are the threads of your money story that can help you to create abundance now. And Deborah, that's really powerful to own and admit that, because that's something you can go to work on. That you don't value yourself the way you need to. So the goal really here is to understand for yourself where your thinking about money originated. And it did come from the past. It did come from the past. And to then become aware of your fear around money and the ways you have been sabotaging your financial abundance. So, Roxy, are you also saying that you're not committed to yourself and that you don't value yourself? So the thing is here that, it's the not valuing yourself that's inauthentic, because you are valuable. That's the lie we tell ourselves, that we're not valuable. Can you see how we get caught in these lies about ourselves, that we don't value ourselves, we don't have that commitment, that high level of commitment, of really getting who you are for each and every one of you. And as much as you hear me say that right now, and you might go, yes, I need to value myself, it's not necessarily a switch that you can just flick on and now you're going, oh, now I value myself. This is the work. This is the work that needs to be done in rewriting your money story in a way that you become the hero of your story, and that you are valuable beyond belief. We haven't even touched the surface of what you're worth. And that's the inauthenticity part, where we don't fully believe in who we are and our true value, which is immense, immense. So, as you go through your money story, certainly you start to come up against things that were said to you, things that happened that made you decide certain things about yourself and determine, oh, well, I don't really deserve it, or I can't really ask for that amount of money. Has one doubt oneself, question oneself, have fear about moving forward. It just helps, or not even helps, but rather it keeps everyone generally on the back foot. Like, you don't quite feel that you're there yet. This just has to happen, or that has to happen, and then I'll feel better, or then I can do this, or then I can do that. And those are the things we almost like say to kind of try to feel better. But in actual fact, there's nowhere to get to other than where you are right now. Like, where you are right now is perfect. And who you are right now is perfect. Really. So often I hear people saying, oh, well, nothing's perfect. But I personally think that that's such an undermining thing to do. You are perfect. You're perfect inside of being a work in progress. Now, that's my belief, and you can take that on if you like it. or not. You can choose. But I believe that if we can validate ourselves that we are perfect with all our imperfections and with our work in progress. Yeah, exactly, Marsha. Absolutely. And then the fear comes up, and the doubt, and the belief or the lack of belief. And then we end up sabotaging our financial abundance. So, on a daily basis, you need to be practicing empowering techniques that will retrain your mind to respond supportively with regards to abundance. So now let's look at that. And we've touched on some of these already. The first one being, mantras and affirmations, even meditating, or daily practice of just checking in with yourself at the end of the day. What worked, what didn't work. Another one to use, as I'm sure you've read in the modules, is the daily success diary. At the end of every day, to write down something that was successful. And in fact, I'd love to hear from each of you. What would you like to acknowledge as a success today? As little or as big as it is. And I'll share with you one thing I did today. I'm starting my running and walking practice because we need to get the fitness levels going. So my daughter, who is doing Ironman next weekend, in fact, we're going up to Durban next Friday. She's going to be doing Ironman on Sunday. So, as you can imagine, she's pretty fit and she does a lot of exercise, like twice a day most of the time. So, best I catch up, you understand? So, anyway, yesterday was storming, and so of course I didn't go out in the rain. But today I went and did my walking and running exercise. And so I feel pretty proud of that. That's one of my successes for the day. So that's what I mean. You want to find the gem of what you did. Or maybe if you're trying to cut, like what I'm trying to do as well, trying to cut out sugar out of my teas, because I do enjoy my sugar in my tea. So if I manage to not have any sugar, well, that's a success. Do you see what I'm saying? Now it could be a financial success too. Maybe you saved some money, or maybe you secured a new client, or maybe a whole new opportunity has presented itself. Or maybe, like Carla, you got an award, which is fantastic. So, whatever it is, from the from the small things to the big things. Yeah, less sugar. It's a challenge, Rox. Acknowledging your success every single day. Can you see what that will start to do? It will start to have you relate yourself as successful. Who likes that idea? I certainly do. So you really want to be making time every day to practice reconditioning your mind with a new positive money blueprint. And it starts with your story. It starts with your story. So the first step, just to recap what the process is here, the first step is writing your story. Then assessing your story using those questions on the slides earlier. And ultimately rewriting your story. Rewriting your story, because you can. I'm going to tell you a bit more about that in a moment. But bringing in practical steps like affirmations. Yeah, I didn't finish my cake on Saturday. That's right. It was a very big piece of cake. And so going beyond just talking about and reading about financial abundance. You're wanting to be creating an empowering pattern. So it's like creating it from within. Like starting to relate to yourself from within as abundant and valuable. Deborah, do you know how valuable you are? Infinitely. All of you. Infinitely valuable. Okay. Training your mind to think empowering thoughts about money. And to literally be looking in the mirror in the morning and saying, I deserve abundance. I deserve the best. I deserve, and then you can talk about your total amount that you have for your financial vision. I deserve X, whatever that might be. Okay. Now, why is this so important? Let's just explore this. It's bliss, Roxy. Fantastic. So that was a success, Rox. Well done. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. That's pretty big, Rox. That's really actually quite big. Okay? That's a big success. Because to get clear for yourself and then take action. Very good. Very good. So, in fact, on that note, it would be so awesome to have everybody share their successes every day. Who would like that? To create that as a practice within the group, that everybody would share their successes. At least one success. That would be amazing. Okay, so as you can see on the screen now, let me go back. So make time to reconditioning your mind with a new positive money blueprint. Maybe take a photograph of the slide, Roxy. Have you got your cell phone handy? Take a photo of the slide. So any questions at this point? If you have got questions, just pop them in the chat box over there. Okay. Now, this just highlights the importance of, well, firstly, writing down your story. Because when we deny the story, and when I say the word deny, as in, let's say, not writing it down or pushing it aside, it's still there. Even if you're not looking at it, it's still there. And what it's doing, it's defining you. So when you own the story, you can write a brand new ending to that story. Makes sense? So the first step is, just to recap this again, then is to write your story and then to own it. Even if you feel sad and feel hurt and feel disappointed and feel all the emotions linked to your story, it's when you own that story and acknowledge the way in which it has defined you that you can then take the next step forward. Make sense? And that's part of this journey, to be able to take ownership of your story And then, once you've owned the story as it is, even the parts that hurt you, even the parts that make you feel sad or feel depressed, you can now write a brand new story. Using your story as a framework, but translating it or transferring it or transcribing it, whatever the right word would be, but into a new story where you're the hero. You're the hero. Think about that for a moment. Instead of being the victim. And then another question to consider for yourself is, can you get into agreement with what happened? So what that means is, getting into agreement, what that means is, for a lot of people, there's going to be a fair amount of, let's say, resistance to the story. When I say resistance, what I mean by that is, in this instance, what I mean is that you may be feeling like it shouldn't have happened like that. So you are resisting, or you are upset, or you're sad about your story, or you're hurt, you feel emotional, mentally draining. But what if you could get into agreement with it? So what that ultimately means is owning your story, being okay with it. Like, yes, that happened. That truly happened to you. And again, when you read other people's stories, I think this is going to be so beneficial for everybody in the team, because when you're reading somebody else's story, it's easy to be detached. It's easy to look, and I say detached, it's still going to have an emotional effect on you, let's say. Like, you're going to feel the experience that that person went through, but it's slightly removed. So the question to ask yourself is, can you get into agreement with what happened? Any questions on this? I know sometimes people can be wondering, like, what exactly does that mean? But it's about taking deeper ownership. That's what happened. And you know what? You're still here. You survived. But now we're going to look to see where we can draw your strengths and identify what you want to take forward in your new money story. And the reason why I talk about this idea of getting into agreement with what happened is because your point of power, even your greatest point of power, is by getting into agreement with what is. Versus the resistance. Versus having it be a painful memory, a hurtful memory. And then to even ask yourself, in what ways has your history led you perfectly to where you are now? So again, this is part of the rewriting, that you bring your story forward to represent a success story, a powerful story, a story that you can feel proud of. And as I said earlier, the story in which you are the hero or heroine, but I like hero. Hero is good. Without making it gender specific. Didn't value your business. Okay. Yeah. It's very good. Oh, so here it is on the screen. So I've mentioned it already. Exactly, Roxy. You've hit the nail on the head there. So what I'm going to be asking you to do is, as I've mentioned a couple times, but here it is on the screen now, is to create yourself as the hero of your new money story. Because, yeah, as Roxy says, you can't change what happened. And you can't even change how you felt then. But you can change how you feel now. And you can move past having it keeping you stuck. Because when your story is keeping you stuck, well, it's hard to calculate what the cost and the impact is, but there is a cost and there is an impact. So you're going to make yourself the hero of your own story, and that is exciting. So writing your new story does require actual writing, as in writing it down on paper. And again, guess what? Sending it in to me. How exciting is that? So from within, you're going to create a new money story. And yes, you're going to be looking for patterns, and you're going to be looking at practicing forgiveness. Great, Deborah. Fabulous. Teaches you discipline. Yep. And you know what discipline is? Simply a function of doing what you said you would do. And that's so powerful. And I personally love that definition for discipline, because discipline often is a heavy word. But if you reframe it into the idea of doing what you said you would do, firstly, it makes you become very aware of what you're committing to and what you're saying yes to. But when you do say yes to something and you will do something, you then do it. And again, points back to the power of your words. Your words are your access to power. So in writing your new money story, what this does not mean, it does not mean writing a whole new money story. But it does mean taking, let's call it maybe events or the paragraphs that you've written, and see where you slightly, what's the word for it here? Can slightly the story. Like you're going to now tell it in a different way. You can tell it from a successful way. So you're not left feeling like the victim. Because I don't want you to be a victim of your money story anymore. I want you to be a hero. So you need to change the story a little bit. So yes, it's about creating, it's about inventing, but it's also about creating a new belief system, a new perception, and a new story, and even a new story that you start to tell yourself. So your self-talk starts to alter. Your self-talk is different, and that self-talk is coming from within. You see what I'm saying? So the within, the inside changes, the inner conversation shifts, and what happens when you deal with the inner? It changes the outer, and of course the outer would be your results. The outer will be your experience. And yes, most likely there is forgiveness, whether it's of your parents, most likely, for yourself, or for others that were in the story. Because when you can forgive, as many of us know, they often say that, one might feel, oh, well, I can't forgive them for doing X, Y, Z. And while that might be true, when you're holding on, you're keeping yourself trapped. Yeah, and as you say, Carla, exactly. By forgiving and releasing, you're setting yourself free. So actually, the forgiveness is not even for the other person, but rather it's for you. And yes, I know it's not an easy one. We all have our ones that we feel, no, I've got to hang on to this one. And that's okay. But look and see what you can do to allow yourself to let go and to set yourself free. Very powerful. Very, very powerful. Okay, how are you all feeling? Roxy. Exactly. Create a story that makes you feel good. Yeah. You've got to feel what's happening within. Exactly. Okay, so before we go on to the partner about money, any questions at this point with regards to your hobby to rewrite your money story? I'm just chuckling, looking at Roxy's comment there. Your mom's smaller than you in size. You know, that's it. Play around with it. Make it humorous. Make it exciting. You know, make it ridiculous even, as long as it leaves you feeling empowered. And remember, you survived. You survived. You're here. You're here to tell your story. Only thing is to now tell a new story. Okay. So, in terms of those, for those of you, a cape and a mask. Yes. Absolutely, Cheryl. Why not indeed? So when it comes to talking about money with your honey, a good place to start is to share your money story. And so for those of you who want to share with your partner about your journey in this course, sharing about your money story does take a level of vulnerability. But it's a great space to create where not only will you be sharing, but your partner can share as well. And it can potentially open up a very powerful and connecting conversation. But remember, and this is important, that this is a conversation to be had without judgment. So if you were to be sharing with your partner about your money story and perhaps they shared something with you, just remember, judgment free zone. Because in sharing your money story, imagine the insights that you will gain as to why they do what they do or why they don't do what they don't do. Make sense? So, as they share their money story with you and you share your money story with them, there's an amazing opportunity to learn. So, you invite them to share their money story with you. A couple other things to remember, as I said earlier, not to listen from judgment, but to really speak and listen from the heart. So you want to make it so much better this year. Excellent, Deborah. You know, it's interesting you say that. Sometimes it's, and clearly I'm seeing that with those of you who have done the course with me last year. You know, it's when you go through it the second time that you're just hearing it on a whole new level, and things can sink in more fully and more completely. Yeah. So you can see how this can be an amazing conversation if you steer it in that direction and if you set it up for that in that way. And not only can you then share your money stories with each other and speak from the heart, it also creates the foundation on which to talk about your values and your goals. Not only the ones that you share, your own ones, and acknowledging each other's values and goals, again, are so critical and important. What you value may not necessarily be what your partner values, and the question is, do we even know what we value? And there are the obvious ones. One would say family and health and money, perhaps, or travel can be another one, financial independence, etc. But it's a good conversation. So definitely worthwhile, once you've done your homework, setting the time to do this with your partner. Money and your honey. Okay. And of course, what's linked to this as well is just gaining a deeper perspective. And of course, respect as well. Respect for each other's perspectives. Really, really interesting. Okay. Any questions at this point? And for some of you, you maybe even be in business together. So in that case, this is even a more important conversation. Okay. So yeah, again, as I said, any questions, just pop them into the chat box over there. And now we're going to move on to the third part of our session tonight. So, and this is a really great question. That'd be an awesome conversation, Rox. Absolutely. Totally. Very, yeah. Do that and then let us know how it goes. Brilliant. Okay, so this is an amazing question that I'd like to ask you to answer. You know how people sometimes say, and I think I've said this to you, where you just start writing the answer and let your pen guide you. So as many of you know, of course, as I'm sure all of you know, that I talk about saving all the time. And there are several reasons why I believe that saving is the ultimate commitment. Not only the ultimate commitment to you, but the ultimate commitment to financial peace of mind too. So for many people, or my experience, let me put it that way, in my experience working with people with their finances, the thing people struggle with the most is saving. So tell me, just type in the chat box if that's how it is for you, that you struggle to save, or you wish you saved more, or you wish you'd started earlier, or you do save but then you spend the saving, and so then you feel frustrated that it's just not working properly. So for most people, saving somehow or other gets sidelined. That's a good one, Marsha. Excellent. So the question that I'm going to ask you to write an answer to in your notebook is, you save and then the emergency happens. So it's this cycle that never ever ends. So the question that I want you to write in your notebook, or rather the answer that I want you to write goes like this: I don't save because. So in fact, besides writing it in your notebook, which you can absolutely do, I don't save because. write it in your notebook, but then please share it here tonight. I think it would be really great to get some answers on the screen. I don't save because what we're wanting to uncover here, we want to uncover what has prevented you from saving in the past. I don't save because. So for some people, they might say, I don't earn enough. For some people, they might say, I'm dealing with debt. Others will say, I don't save because it doesn't work. Because there's so much I need and want. Okay. So this can be a very, very revealing answer. Because I need to use the money. Absolutely. Yes, Rox, you need to use the money. Absolutely. So, Amanda, you're saying I don't save because it's not so easy. Excellent. I mean, I'm saying excellent answers, not excellent that it's like that sometimes. Yeah, this just helps you to excavate, like, what's the block? What do you tell yourself when you kind of go, oh, save? No, I can't save. So why not? So what you'll start to see is that there'll always be a reason. In fact, most people can justify anything. So if it's not that you, as Roxy even said, that you need to use the money, sometimes it'll be that you don't save because you need to use the money, or you need to buy something that you need or want, or it'll just be that you don't make enough, or you've got debt to pay. So I'd love to hear from the others. Who else would like to share? Has everybody shared? Actually, I think yeah, because Lisa's not with us anymore, even though her name's coming up. Okay, I think everybody has shared actually. So it's really good to again assess this and kind of go, okay, just look at that. You're allowing that reason or that excuse to prevent you from saving. So maybe now is the time to give up that story, to give up that excuse. Because really, that's your saving story. Ah, very good, Carla. I'll save later. Yeah, absolutely, Marsha. So the question to ask yourself is, what's your saving story? So we've started to open that up with that answer to the question of, I don't save because, okay? So what actually is your saving story? So here as well, it might go back to the past in some way. Maybe you never saw your parents save, or perhaps it was never shown to you as something to do. And the idea of saving later, I mean, that's a huge one. That one will think, well, you know what? I need to, get these things now. I need to take care of these things now. I'll save later when I earn more. So just like you've got a money story, I want you to consider that you've also got a saving story. And inside of that saving story, you have your reasons. And while they might seem real and valid, guess what? They're preventing you from growing. And I'm going to share just now something else that they're preventing you. Sham, sorry to see you go, Deborah. We'll see you next time. Nighty night. Okay, so what is your money story? So if you have a response right now, you're welcome to write in the chat box or add this to your homework. Like, what is your saving story? And what would you love your saving story to be? So there's an opportunity for transformation here too. And again, coming from your words, which are powerful in terms of creating a new commitment to saving. What's your saving story? What is your saving story? So anybody want to share any insight? What's your saving story? Is it a sad story? Is it a happy story? Is it a bad story? All the emotions that show up around this as well. And start to think about what would you like your saving story to look like. And you know what my goal for everyone is? To get to the point of saving 20% of your income. Imagine that. Story of scarcity. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Cheryl. And it's a stressful story, Cheryl. Yeah, there's an experience there, Roxy, from your money story that points to your saving story. So certainly the whole world of saving was presented as it doesn't work. Yeah, that's great, Marsha. Ask for more so that you can do your traveling. Absolutely. So I want you to, out of this exercise and out of this conversation we're having right now, I really want you to take a deeper look at, where you have positioned yourself around saving. And to also understand that wherever you are right now and whatever your story has been right now, it doesn't mean it has to stay that way forever. Absolutely, Roxy. So it appeared that saving was not an option. But you know what's also happening here, which is also so sad? It's like people surrender somehow, or they get, let's say, boxed in. They actually get boxed into that limitation versus making the commitment to saving and living on the rest. And this is what I'm going to get to on my next point. And this is it. This is the saving secret. Roxy, try this on. Cheryl, try this on. All of you, try this on. Saving puts a demand on your income flow. So if I just were to use your parents as an example here, Roxy, imagine if your parents had said, okay, 10% of whatever comes into their house gets saved, and the family will live on the other 90%. Like, imagine that inside of a declaration, inside of a commitment, that's what's happening. And that's how I want you all to relate to your saving. The saving happens first and foremost. It's inside of a commitment. And then what I've seen, not only in my own life, but in the lives of my clients who have followed this action, by putting that commitment to saving in first, it's like you're creating this vacuum for more abundance to flow in. But of course, you have to test this theory for yourself. So yes, you can believe me, and I'm sure you do believe me. I know that you trust my words, but I don't want you just to believe me. I want you to test this. So who is willing to test this theory? Saving puts a demand on your income flow. Now, having said that, at worst, let's say, if you need your savings for some emergency or something, yes, you can use it, but this is the other part of it. You then have to pay that money back to yourself. Okay? So if you need it for an emergency, no problem. But the transaction doesn't end there. It's got to be both sides. Okay, so it's like a double transaction. You borrow it from yourself, you pay it back to yourself. And I love that you're saying challenge accepted, exclamation mark, Cheryl. That's fabulous. Because this is, again, one of my favorite points to share. It's energy. It's powerful. It's like it's top secret. I want you to take this on. I want you to save like your life depends on it. Think about that for a moment. Save like your life depends on it. Because it probably does. Because out of saving, energetically claiming more. And this, of course, links back to your financial vision. So this helps to accelerate your financial vision into life, giving it more power, giving it more inspiration, more energy, and more results. Okay. Saving puts a demand on your income flow. So, you're all going to take that on. I see Cheryl's accepting the challenge. I trust you are all taking this on. And I know you know this, but I'll say it again. Saving is your number one expense. Exactly, Mana. Spend what is left after saving. So yeah, I hear what you're saying, Marsha. And so again, it still applies that save first. And even if it's 100 Rand or 10 Rand or 1,000 Rand, whatever the amount is, the saving happens first. And then paying the bills, and then dividing up over the other expenses. So saving is your number one expense, and I know you're all going to get very excited about saving because savings is exciting. And saving creates stability, mental stability, emotional stability. Saving builds confidence, and so a safety net. So there's so many positive components around saving. It helps you to feel good. And remember, feeling good is what will attract more. But really, why do I save? Money is there to spend. Well, interesting question, Roxy. So what I'll say there is that in saving, you're delaying the spend, but you're buying yourself back time. It's quite ironic. Think about this. We're selling our time for money. Like work is selling our time and our skills and our abilities for money. And ironically, we're then buying back our time. So that's a good place to start, Roxy, to see a positive bank balance. But you know what the real benefit of saving is? It gives you, let's say, more options, more peace of mind, or as the screen says, more stability, more confidence, plus a safety net called an emergency fund. It just gives you so much more. Plus, yes, fantastic, Marna. By saving, you're showing responsibility, financial responsibility. So, Rox, what you're also doing is by saving, you are reducing the potential struggle in the future. Like, let's put it this way, the longer you don't save, the longer the struggle. That's the irony of it. And very often people feel like, oh, well, they'll save later when they earn more, without realizing they're just perpetuating the struggle. The struggle is there when you can't save. And again, the moment you start saving and the universe blesses you with more abundance and you get into that rhythm and you get into that flow, you will want to live like that forever. Roxy, you will want to save 40%. You'll come to me and you'll say, Linda, I love saving 40%. I have to say, it's life changing. Yeah, by not saving, you will struggle. It's inevitable. And that's why most people struggle, because they don't save. And even worse, they get debt. And that debt ties up even more of their money. Makes sense? Yeah, the safety net gave you confidence. Absolutely. And having money on demand, like having extra whenever you need it, gives you so much peace of mind. Otherwise, and this is how most people live, they get to the end of the month or the last week before payday and um it's stressful. And that's a really good insight there, Roxy, that you have not found an exciting reason to save. You've got to look at that. And the pathway, Roxy, this is so powerful. The pathway beyond debt and beyond struggle is saving. That's the irony of it. It's like and it can be presented as so boring because, as you're saying, you have reason to save, but your exciting reason to save is that this is the way out of struggle. So it's like on the one hand you've got struggle, and the other hand you've got saving, and perhaps you've just never thought of it that way before. You don't want to struggle, so you're resisting struggle, but you're not finding the motivation to save, which has you miss out on the solution to your problem. Does it make sense? Pretty powerful. And yeah, you want to be excited about saving. I mean, having said that, there's also a part of me wants to say to you and to everyone is also save simply for the sake of saving. Yeah, you absolutely need to look at it. But Roxy, what I also want to add is it's also just save for the sake of saving. So it doesn't have to have that excitement level, but if you need that to kick off, then absolutely, explore that. And I'm glad to see that, yeah, as you say, you've never thought of it like that before. Saving, like for me, let's say, I don't know, maybe it's just in my DNA. Like I am compelled to save, Rox. But I think in a way it's like each of us have different things. This is so funny. But each of us have different things that we feel compelled to do. Like Yeah. So yeah, it's great. I'm really, really excited to see that you are seeing something, and maybe others are also seeing something for themselves around their commitment to saving and their understanding of the value of saving. So that's another layer. Like, think about saving as valuable. I mean, so Roxy, you'll know this, for example, like exercise. We all know we should do exercise, okay? But we don't always feel like doing our exercise, okay? And Roxy, I know you're a great one for exercise. But imagine if you just didn't do it. Like, what not doing exercise, what the effect is. Make sense? Like, if you exercise, and again, as I shared earlier, I did my running routine today, which I was very proud of, and I can feel myself getting fitter. And added to my yoga practice, like, it's pretty cool. And so the more I exercise, the better I'm going to feel. So consider this, Roxy. The more you save, the better you're going to feel. So yeah, great opening for you. And there's an interesting parallel. Like, we know that we want to be healthy, so exercise is part of it. So if you want to have healthy finances, let's say saving is part of it. Make sense? So I'm very excited about saving, but I'm very excited about what you've just seen there, Rox. That is so exciting. Because as you say, you've just never thought of it like that before. Yeah. And now in the future, as you save, you'll love being able to do whatever you want to do with your money because you've got it. Versus waiting for payday or waiting for a client to pay you. Yeah. That's excellent, Marsha. Fantastic. Great stuff, guys. So, Roxy, here's another one that might resonate for you. Saving allows you to become your own bank. Think about that for a moment, Rox, and for all of you. Saving allows you to become your own bank. So what I love about that is it puts you in that power position. So you don't have to go to the bank to get a loan and get more debt when you have an emergency, or if you want to go overseas, or if you want to do home renovations, or you want to pay for your child's education. If you've got savings, you become your own bank. And that's powerful. That's powerful. So here's a few things I want to share with you that money loves. Okay, so you can write all these things down. So first of all, you'll get this. Money loves to be saved. Mindfulness. Money loves stability. So when I say stability, as in peacefulness in your mind and in your heart versus stress and chaos. Yeah, you don't want to pay interest rate on your loan, absolutely. Money loves certainty. So when you have certainty about saving, and you make that saving no matter what, and even if you don't manage to save as much as you want every month, you can still create it as an IOU to yourself. So like for myself, I'll say I want to save X amount every month, and maybe that particular, let's say 75% of my goal, I'll come back later when cash flow allows, because obviously my cash flow is also irregular. When it comes in, I'll then go and top up that saving to take it to 100%, even if it was from 2 or 3 months back. Okay, so what I'm doing for myself is I'm doing complete work. I'm not like leaving it and going, oh, well, it doesn't matter. I saved part of what I wanted to save and just leave it. No, because that's the same as, paying part of your bond and thinking the bank won't come and ask you for the rest. Of course they will. Or if you pay half your cell phone, of course they're going to come and ask for the rest. So in the same way, I make my saving commitment and I complete it. Even if it's not in that same month, even if it's later, it's okay. as long as it happens. And I love that because it gives me flexibility and it gives me peace of mind. And also I'm demonstrating trust, that I trust the money will come to make that saving. And then money loves to be organized. Yeah, and that's excellent. Saving into your bond, Marsha, that's brilliant. So money loves to be organized. So money wants to be told what to do and where to go. And you do that with your spending plan. Okay, and that's why it's so important that you send your spending plan into me so that I can look at it and give you feedback. Because so often, and I've seen this from people sending in their spending plans, so often it needs tweaking, it needs small adjustments, which if you don't make because you can't see them yourself, it means that your document will not be supporting you as powerfully as it can. Okay, so again, finish your document and send it to me to be acknowledged. And you can acknowledge your money through your spending plan document. That's where you acknowledge that you've paid this and you've saved that and you've worked towards making this happen. The document in and of itself is acknowledgement. So it creates certainty for you. It creates stability for you. It helps you to be organized. Your spending plan document does so much for you. So if you're not using it, now's the time to raise the bar and step up and use it the way it's designed. And by filling it in and sending it to me, it'll help you to take it to the next level. Yeah, exactly, Mana. So, talking about the final, okay, now we're on to the final component of our session this evening. So, we should finish by 10 o'clock tonight. Increasing your income flow. So, how many of you want to increase your income flow? I'm just reading your message there, Marsha, about so you're saying the last one, meaning acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is a big, big problem. Is that what you're saying? And only then you can get certainty and stability. Just say more about that. Okay, so yeah, save like you exercise. Exactly, Mana. Fantastic. Lovely. So we touched on this already, saving. Okay, you now have got this message. Okay, so you're meaning that being organized is a big problem, right? Exactly. I see what you're saying. So being organized will then give you clarity and will give you certainty and stability. I get what you're saying. Thank you. Excellent. So saving is the magic ingredient. Who would have guessed? When it comes to increasing your income flow, the more you save, the more you will attract. So who is willing to give that a try? To save a little bit more and to let the universe know that you are open to receive more. Most definitely, says Carla. Yay! Woohoo! So take this on. Share it in the group. Now you don't have to share the specific rand value of what you're saving. If you don't feel comfortable to do that, you can share percentages like 2% or 10%. And as Cheryl says, it's got to be done. Exactly, Cheryl. It's got to be done. This is not a maybe, someday, I'd like to. This is it. This is it. This is it. This is it. Like now more than ever before. Okay, saving is the magic ingredient. So if you want to, on the one hand, increase your income flow, but you're not saving, then you just block. Whereas if you're saving, and you are setting intentions and you're working in harmony. That's powerful. And that's what makes a difference. And that's what we want. We want to do things that we know will make. And by saving, you will feel good. And remember, when you feel good, that's when you're going to attract the most abundance. Okay. And then cash flow. Woohoo! Cash flow is a big one, especially for people who run their own businesses. So when it comes to increasing your income flow, a lot of people get caught up on cash flow. And that's why I'm mentioning it here this evening. In fact, let me ask that question of those of you who do run your own businesses. How many of you can say, yes, cash flow is a problem, Linda? I've had a problem with cash flow. Anybody? Just type yes in the chat box if you can relate or you have ever had that experience where cash flow seems to be a problem. Okay? Because there is a reason I'm highlighting this. Okay, great. So, Cheryl's saying yes. Roxy saying yes. So, when you look at the cash flow of a business, very often the cash flow is delayed. Yeah, this is Marsha. Thanks. That this is more for people who run their own businesses. But tracking and managing your income and your outgoing is a very good exercise as well. Absolutely. Okay, so let's just talk about cash flow for a moment. My experience with my clients over the years has been that when they talk about cash flow, it's like the energy just drops. They feel, oh, cash flow. Oh, is this cash flow problem? Oh, right. Of course, you do have your own business as well. I mustn't forget that. Sorry, Marsha. And yeah, maybe you have the cash flow. So in this instance, what I'm talking about cash flow is the way in which the cash flow is delayed. Like, for example, a client might say they're going to pay you at a certain time, and then guess what? They don't. Oh, my word. So what happens? You're now living at the effect of your client not paying you. It can be terrible. It can be devastating. It can be frustrating. People let you down. But guess what's happening? You're now living at the effect of what other people are doing or are not doing. And so when people think about cash flow, usually there's a negative feeling around it. But the truth of it is, and this is the important thing to know, the truth of it is, cash flow is always going to be delayed. Cash flow is always going to be delayed. So whether your clients are paying you on the day of the service or on the day that you give them the product or the service, or a week later or a month later or 3 months later. Okay, whatever your arrangement is with them, or whether your arrangement is one thing and then they do another thing. Like maybe you give them a month to pay, but then they pay a month beyond that. What I'm highlighting for you here is that cash flow is always going to be delayed. Okay, so don't let it surprise you anymore, because this points perfectly back to the statement right above, saving. Now imagine if you had saving. Now, Roxy, this might appeal to you. You had savings that you may call month-end buffer. So that when your clients pay you late and you're feeling that burden of carrying this cash flow, that's delayed. People are not paying you because they don't. They're also caught up in the same trap. So they haven't paid you because they're waiting for payment. And so it's like this domino effect that goes all the way down the line, and everybody's living in the effect of cash flows being delayed. It's stressful, it's unpleasant, it feels heavy, it drains your energy, and you feel frustrated. And you'll be like, oh, the cash flow is just terrible. The cash flow is just terrible, which of course is a very negative about your business. Okay? So you don't want to do that. So this, if nothing else, is a massive motivation to save and build your own buffer so you become your own bank. So never again will cash flow be a problem. Now, the amount that you need for this buffer will vary for each of you. Okay? The amount you need will vary. Some of you will need a lot. I'll say a lot, as in, let's say, a bigger amount, and others will need a smaller amount. So you need to work out what your buffer needs to be. But therein lies a huge motivation to save, potentially. And of course, this is just one saving category, okay? And there are multiple saving categories. Emergency fund, month-end buffer, holiday fund, home renovation fund, personal growth training fund, and then there's the forever fund, okay? And that means money that you're never planning on spending. So in some instances, you're saving to spend, and in other cases, you're saving for the long term. Okay, so this is the way in which you transcend this complaint called cash flow. Because when cash flow is bugging you and when cash flow is holding you back, it's also holding back the increase of your flow. Because you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling upset. And when you're in that type of energy, that's not supportive of increasing your income. Okay. So I love that, Marla. I'm open to receive. Please send. Is that a note to the universe? And that's great. Yeah, tell the universe, I'm open to receive. Please send. Maybe even tell them how much you want. Okay, so never again does cash flow will cash flow present itself as a problem when you apply this practice, and that is saving. Note to Roxy, saving. Oh, I just love this conversation. Can you hear that? You can hear it in my voice. I love this. Okay, especially when it makes total sense. Awesome, Rox. Awesome. Yeah, exactly, Mana. It's flowing out faster than flowing in. Well, now we have to look at where it's going, of course. We must have checkpoint Charlie. Everything going out has to be, authorized. Or as long as it's flowing out into the savings account. Now that's another one to look at. So now let's look at the emotions that will attract money to you, because we know that frustration and depression and anxiety are not the ones, okay? So I want to bring your attention to the emotions that you want to hold at all times. Okay, these are your default emotions. So here we go. Let's have a look at what they are. Guess what the first one is? Woohoo! No surprise there. Gratitude. So when you hold gratitude at the top of your emotions, well, in a way, you're pretty untouchable. I mean, gratitude is so huge. And this is not the first time you've heard it, not only from me, I'm sure you've heard it from many other people and other sources out there. Everybody talking about gratitude, 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 gratitude. And it's true. The more you focus on how good things are, the better they potentially get. In fact, who's ever had that experience? Mona, thanks for sharing that. It's very difficult to build up resources to survive. So how about we change the wording there? Because saying it's very difficult is also creating a reality or perpetuating a reality that you would like to shift. So how about something like, we build up resources easily. Yeah, we can take the things, that's it. We can take a lot of things for granted. Totally. So it's bringing our attention back to gratitude, even for the, even for the things that we might take for granted. Gratitude is the first one. Then what about trust? Trust. Now you've noticed that I talk about that a lot. Trusting that you'll be okay. Trusting that you'll be okay. Even when things don't go in the right direction. Still trusting that you will be okay. Trusting that more opportunities are on their way to you. So the deeper you can trust, the more powerfully you will attract the things that you truly want. And belief. So belief and trust go hand in hand. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your goals. You've got to believe in your financial vision. To see that everything, your intentions, you have to believe in them. If you don't believe in them, then you will be the block that prevents the results showing up. So with gratitude and trusting and belief, you then need to surrender. Sure, imagine that. So you have to be committed, you have to be in action, you've got to be grateful, you must bring high levels of trust, total belief, and then guess what? You surrender. Now surrender does not mean inaction, but it means surrendering to the result, whatever it might be. So when it works, you're delighted. When it doesn't work, you're still good. That's what surrender is. Letting go of the outcome. Letting go of it needing to be a particular way. In fact, letting go of judgment. Letting go of self-criticism. Makes sense? Surrender. Exactly. Surrender, surrender, surrender. With commitment. So as I've shared many times around, particularly around the power of intention, it's about having a commitment. Like you're committed to something, you bring gratitude, you bring trust, you bring belief, and you surrender. Now these are the powerful emotions that attract money. So you committed to your results, you surrender to the outcome that might come in, you trust and you believe, and you're grateful in advance. And I love that too. So you don't have to only be grateful for the things that are already in your life. You can be grateful in advance. And together, these emotions support the attraction of income in line with your financial vision. So, who likes those emotions? Who's willing to take those emotions and bring them to life every single day? I trust all of you. Every single day. Write these words down in your notebook. Write them on cards. Put them in places that can remind you to trust, to believe, to surrender, and be grateful in advance. And be committed to what you are wanting to achieve. And sometimes the things you want to achieve might take longer to arrive. And you might think, hey, hang on a sec. This is not working yet. Why is it not coming? Why is the result not coming? Okay? So when you feel that way, surrender, let go of impatience. sometimes the results come in their own time. So I'm not saying that this is easy. It's not always easy. It may not always feel easy, but you've got to allow yourself to be with what is so. So you're going to take those on. Fantastic, Rocks. Love that. Love that. Okay, so now, in line with another point that I want to share with you, so I hope you're writing all this down in your notebooks. Another one I want to share with you about increasing your income flow. I want to give you a new context for your life. Okay. So when I say context, what I mean by that is it's like a background. Okay? Or it's the stage. So remember in the very beginning, in our session 1, I talked about the foundation and the stage, setting the stage for this course. And with a foundation, or when you have a foundation, you then can build on that. Okay? So this is another, let's call it another prop on your stage. Or in this case, I'm calling it a context for your life. Okay, so it's something that you can adopt, you can play with, you can think about. You may even reject it. You may even go, no, I can't do that. But nevertheless, wherever you are when you hear this, I share this with you because it's deeply powerful, profound, and I've certainly found it to be life-changing in my life. So you know how we normally go through life? In fact, let me just expand on that. You know, when something happens in our lives and we don't really like it, or we're not really happy about it, okay, what do we do? What do we do? We usually go, it shouldn't be like this. How many of you ever have had that experience? Like you feel it shouldn't be like this. This is wrong. Shouldn't be like this. I need to change it. And then you're not happy until it's changed, or you're not happy until it's improved. And you're just living in this frustration. So that's why I want to share this with you tonight. Let me go on to the next slide and introduce you to a powerful and compelling context for your life. So trumpets, please. Do, 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 do. The context for your life is breathe this in. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. So what do I mean by this? So as a little picture goes there saying, you know, what's wrong, and then the other person saying nothing's wrong. So I'm not talking about the type of thing where you say nothing's wrong when actually you're fuming and everything's wrong and it's a big upset. No, I'm not talking about that. The context for your life of nothing's wrong as a foundation is immensely empowering. Because as human beings, we can so quickly and so easily and perpetually focus on what's wrong. And it doesn't take a genius, or even let's rather say a fool, can focus on what's wrong. But now I'm opening up the platform for you called Nothing's Wrong. So just try this on for a moment. When you consider that nothing's wrong in the face of many things going wrong as they do, just imagine how powerful you can be with this context of nothing's wrong. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to leave things as they are if things need to be corrected or adjusted or edited. Absolutely. Those things need to happen. But from the context of nothing's wrong, This is your access to power. Because when you're upset and you're focusing on something being wrong, you're actually experiencing a loss of power. Okay? Do you see that? When you're in upset, you are losing power. When you're calm and confident and something's wrong, but you're standing in the context of nothing's wrong, just think about it for a moment of how powerful you will be. Now, how does this relate to increasing your income flow? Well, it's along the same lines. When nothing's wrong and you're not in upset, you're no longer causing the block. So when the result comes in, that's wonderful. And when it doesn't come in, well, that's wonderful too, because it's probably coming in tomorrow or the next day or the next week. For me, this context opens up pure freedom. Pure freedom. It transcends your bank balance like nothing's wrong. Like there's nothing wrong with your bank balance. And remember, in the very first session, I got you to check your bank balance. And immediately when you checked your bank balance, you maybe went to something's wrong. It shouldn't be like this. For a lot of people, it's very hard to check their bank balance. But what if you can look at your bank balance inside of the context of nothing's wrong? And so you spot on, Cheryl, like the pressure is off. There's pure freedom. Inside of nothing's wrong. So I'd love to hear, what are you hearing? What are you hearing for yourself inside of a context called nothing's wrong? So what are you hearing for yourself inside of nothing's wrong? Anyone? Are you typing? Maybe you're all typing. Ah, yes. Breathe better. Feel clearer. Yeah, given the opportunity to change it. Yeah, you can create. When you have the context of nothing's wrong, then you step over the world of upset. Because there's no need to be upset because nothing's wrong. But you can powerfully deal with the issue or deal with the problem or deal with the opportunity. But it's a full place to operate from. And I believe there's a connection to your income. Because when you're in this calm, powerful, creative space in your mind and in your energy and in your actions, just start to imagine what that makes possible. So I really invite you to take this on as a gift to yourself. That you are powerful beyond belief. And in the context of nothing's wrong, you're even more powerful. Because you're untouchable. Because most people today are very touchable. And what I mean by that is most people today get upset easily. And look, that happens. But when you step back and assess it, you realize you're just being the victim of something or someone if you're getting upset over whatever's happening. This is powerful. And as Cheryl says, Exactly that. You're good enough. Which takes us back to session 1. That powerful foundation of you are enough. You're more than enough, in fact. But sometimes it's a good place to start with. I'm enough. And it is enough. Inside of the context of nothing's wrong. Okay. So this is also one of my personal favorites. I love this one. Definitely life-changing. Okay, so another important component. I see we're going a bit over time tonight, so obviously we've had an action-packed session or a lot of content tonight. So another component of increasing your income flow is to review your results. Okay, so on the one hand, you're setting intentions for results, and on the other hand, you need to review the results. So you can't just ignore the results when they don't work out. You've actually got to look at them and go, oh, look, it worked out, or it didn't. Yeah, exactly, Carla. Calmer and happier. Love that. So reviewing your results is not always the most comfortable thing to do. And that's why people may avoid it, especially when the results don't come in. Yeah, that's it. More patient and understanding. It's very powerful, Carla. Very powerful. So, my request to you all is, as every week goes by or every month goes by and you're reviewing your results, don't step over this important action, because it's in reviewing your results in comparison to your intentions that you get to see not only how you did, but also the degree to which you did it. Like, let's say your results were 50% of your results, or your goal, I should say. 50% of your goal, or 75% of your goal, or 90% of your goal. You need to look at the percentages. You need to understand what the gap is about. So is the gap a 10% gap? Is it a 25% gap? Or is it a 50% gap? This helps you understand more deeply what you are bringing to the equation that will have it work better the following month. And by understanding this and by learning, you can then complete the month powerfully and not drag the upset over into the next month. And I say upset meaning if the result's not what you wanted, and then you don't really want to look at why the results are not so great. So you don't, but you start a new month with a new week with a degree of upset and resentment and frustration. And again, all of those emotions that do not support increasing your income flow. So you've got to look at your results objectively. And again, if you want to be in communication with me and let me know what happened and set up a call with me or email with me, something to help you understand and learn from your results, because your results are like messengers. They are presenting you with messages and with opportunities to learn, but only you can take those opportunities. Okay? I can direct you towards it, and I can recommend it, and I can suggest it, and I can remind you about it, but only you can do it. Okay? So I really encourage you, and especially at this point in the course, this is the time to start going, okay, let's get serious about the results. And this is also where the next part of the training continues, where the course is complete, but the work continues, and particularly around intentions and results. So you want to consider what is possible to create this line of communication with me, with yourself, with the group, because this is what makes the difference. This is what makes the difference. Okay. Very important. And of course, always to remember, we touched here, doubt is the opposite of trust. And it's very easy to see when doubt creeps in, because doubt creeps in the form of that little voice. And I need to type, nothing is wrong. Nothing's wrong, Mana. Absolutely. Okay, so when you notice that little voice of doubt creeping in, you can first say, nothing's wrong. So you don't have to beat yourself up about it. Yes, sure, you can bring that elastic band out if you want, but you go back to trust. So these are, again, little steps and little components that make the difference around your income. Okay, and I want you to write them all down so you can be aware of them and see where you need to use this to take yourself forward. Monitoring your feelings. You're aware of your emotions. You're noticing how you're feeling. And if you're not feeling great, if you're not feeling fantastic, you want to know why. What's the block? What's happening? What's tripped you up? What happened? Maybe somebody said something or did something. Notice what might have happened, but take yourself back to the context of nothing's wrong, and then assess your feeling and see what you need to do about it. Because how you feel makes a difference to your bottom line. And when I say bottom line, I mean your income. Okay. Because at the end of the day, at the end of the week, and at the end of the month, one might say, you're always choosing to be on a team. And it's either the fear team or it's the abundance team. Now I know because you are here, you're on the abundance team. You are committed to that. But you've got to check yourself and make sure you don't slip and slide towards the fear team, because you don't want to be there. Okay. Come to the end. I know we've gone over time a bit. It's been quite a lengthy session tonight. So I'm going to just go through your homework assignments from tonight's session. So the first thing you'll be doing, if you haven't finished your money story, of course, is to finish your money story. Once you finish your money story, and if you want to send it in to me by Sunday, that'll be great. You'll then start to work on a new story. And you can make it humorous. You can make it far out. You can create it in so many different ways and start to see how you are the master of your story and you are the master of your words. And you can create a story in which you're the hero. A story that makes you feel good. Partner, your honey about money. Explore your saving story. What has stopped you in the past from saving? And in fact, I'd love to invite you to take on this mantra. And I love this one. I am a master saver. And then, of course, you can flip that into an affirmation and say to yourself, why am I a master saver? And then answer that question for yourself. Roxy and everyone else, why am I a master saver? And then you start to see, oh, well, because I love saving. I love the benefit of saving. I love to see the interest that I'm earning. I love to see my bank account balance increase. I love to see my investments grow. I love to have the peace of mind that saving gives me, etc., etc. So you can really have fun with that. And so, of course, continue to use your intentions to increase your income flow and to grow your savings. And what I really recommend is to set an intention for every week or every 2 weeks or for the month ahead and share with the group, invite support, and review your results. Make sense? Because what I really want you all to remember is this. To thrive. And that means doing great things and enjoying life. So nothing's wrong. In fact, that's what life is all about, having fun and doing great things. So, a very important message to stop questioning your worth and let go of the stories that you keep telling yourself about why or how or when you'll be able to do X, Y, Z, and just do it already. So whether it means just do the saving or write a new money story or focus on gratitude or check your results inside of the context of nothing's wrong. Have fun. Live the life of your dreams now, today. And remember to love yourself right where you are and knowing that the universe has your back. So imagine that game that you're playing, whatever your game, whatever your goal is, to know that the universe is on your side and you are supported. Even if in the past you felt not supported, or as a child things happened that were not great and you may have questioned your value and your worth, I want you to know that, whatever happened, that does not mean that the universe does not have your back and wants the best for you. But it starts with you understanding that you deserve the best. You deserve what you desire, and you can attract it through your actions and through your belief and through your trust and your surrendering. So that brings us almost to the end tonight. You may have a question or two. Otherwise, just share how you're feeling as a result of this. And as I said earlier, we have 2 more weeks left. So I think in these 2 weeks, what I'm going to do is be in touch with each of you and just chat about where you are and what's the next step for you. And I'll be sharing about my vision for the next step and what that looks like and what you can expect from it. And well, then we'll be taking the next step. So if you have enjoyed the journey up until now, I invite you to continue and we'll talk more about that. But for now, any questions at all before we wrap up? And then finally, to remind you that you do have the power. You do have the this I'll be sending you will get the link to the recording, Marsha. And I'll be sharing about the Bitcoin stuff in meetings with people. Any other questions? Any final comments? How are you feeling, everyone? Love to know how you're feeling. So I'll send the email through to you, Marsha. Awesome rocks. It's so awesome to have that breakthrough. Well, the potential of a breakthrough right now. You want to break through it, especially around the saving. Anyone else? So it's been great to be with you all again this evening, and yeah, I'll be presenting again tomorrow morning for others who are preferring the daytime session, and then you'll get your email at the end of probably by the end of tomorrow. Get the email with the links and the follow up. Yeah, and so we'll be in touch. Well, as we always are. So yeah, fabulous. Thank you very much again for being here, and rest well and stay warm and stay safe. And yeah, just thinking of those people in Knysna and just sending them lots of support and energy to yeah, and sending the rain there. We all need the rain. Lots and lots of rain. Lots and lots of rain. So thank you and good night.